This is just a quick video about my first welding project, a simple fire pit and base. I did not entirely design it myself. It was inspired by the Fix This, Build That YouTube channel and the build that he did there. I'll put a link to the video down below in the description. Definitely check it out. You can see how it gets assembled. It does a really great job, and I was able to follow along and do a lot of that. But I did model my design first in FreeCAD just to get a better feel for how it would look, and also to double check my trigonometry and math as far as some of the angles and material lengths, especially the base that involves some miter cuts. I just wanted to make sure that I got it all right. As far as the build techniques for the bowl piece, I more or less did exactly what the Fix This, Build That channel video does, except I used a stick welder instead of MIG. And if I'm going to thank a YouTube channel, it would also be Tim Weld's channel. Basically taught me how to stick weld. However, as you can see, I did go a different direction with the base. I decided to have the bowl rest on top of the base, primarily for portability reasons. You can see the difference here where to Fix This, Build That version, the base, the bowl is supported by welds on the base. But in my case, the bowl rests on top of the base, which is actually a separate piece. As you can see, though, there's two legs, and then there's a crossbar here. There's another crossbar you can't see, and that makes the base one piece. And I measured it all out so that basically the base is a mirror image of the bowl, and when you flip the base upside down, it will fit inside the bowl, which makes it really handy for transportation. Just flip the base over, put it inside the bowl, and there you go. It's much easier to move about. Also, the bowl can be flipped over and rested on top of the base when it's not in use, and that way, if you don't have a cover, for example, instead of water coming into the bowl, it will just drain off. It'll just hit the flat bottom side, which in my case is painted. And that's the other thing I did differently than the Fix This, Build That, is I went to Home Depot and got a can of Rust-Oleum high temperature paint that's used for barbecues and wood stoves. They had two options in the silver color, a $6 version, and the premium was $12. I figured use the premium, why not? It's supposedly a little bit better, whatever. So I painted the base and the outside of the bowl. I didn't paint the inside because the instructions on the paint say not to use where it's encountering direct flames or cooking surfaces. So we may want to roast some marshmallows and so on. So I just decided not to paint the inside. I guess we'll just have to battle rust. I'm thinking that I could just, when it's not in use, maybe spread some vegetable oil or even just spray Pam inside. I think that would be a food safe way to hopefully inhibit some rust. And if it rusts a little bit and patinas over time, not the end of the world. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. I did order a cheap cover as well, so we'll see what happens here in South Florida. Just like Fix This, Build That, I did drill holes in the corner. He kind of drilled small holes using a step drill bit. I opted for a 3/4 inch hole saw bit and just drilled 4 holes, one in each corner. You can't see in the picture because they're in the bottom, but that way rain can drain out, and also the fire will get a little bit more air. I did not build the suspension grate that he built. The main reason being that I just saw a lot of other YouTube videos for fire pits, and it seems like it's pretty common to go without that suspension grate. So I figured keep things simple on this first build, and we'll just see how it goes. Had a lot of fun. I'm a first-time welder, so I'm not in a position to give a lot of advice other than before I pulled the trigger on, just going to the metal yard and figuring out how much steel I was going to need and designing it and doing all the cuts of the metal myself. I really thought hard about this 42 fab offering, which is for as little as $100, and it's not that much more if you go over their bigger version. They just send you out all the pieces of steel pre-cut. I can't vouch for it. I haven't used it myself, but it seems legit. And if you're thinking about it, my only advice would be that if you go the route of doing everything yourself, I would say on all the hours I spent about 5 to 10% of the time actually welding, and the rest of the time, cutting steel, prepping steel, just all kinds of other stuff besides welding, which is okay. I'm glad I learned all that, and maybe that's the better way to go. But if you just want to weld, um, this might be a better option, or have somebody else cut all the steel and stuff for you, so you can just get down to welding. Um, I don't know, six of one, half a dozen the other. I'm glad I learned what I did, but this option's out there, and I do like this design. It may serve as inspiration for um, if I decide to do another fire pit. And I kind of do want to do more fire pits. Anyways, um, that's all I have to say about it. It was fun, and go ahead and hopefully my base design inspires you. If you want to copy it, go ahead. If you need the exact measurements, drop a comment, and if I get around to it, I'll post the if you can't just pause on the video where I show the plans, I could put the plans up on GitHub or something like that. All right, thanks and good luck.